Hi there guys, and welcome to another trainsim 2017 video. Again, we're in the amazing Armstrong Powerhouse Waggonz Class 313. Today we're doing a empty coaching stock journey, which is a little bit of a made up one really, just because it's quick drive and because I haven't got a scenario for the Moorgate extension, which I now have, thanks to one of the commenters on the last video who made it available to me on Backdated trainsim.com. One website I'd never seen before, so it was really helpful to be able to see that. I did a quick run in this earlier and it crashed just outside Hornsey, I think it was, just south of Hornsey. So we're going to do it again. And what I did notice was that a lot of the stock that was coming past me was of the 90s, like late 90s stuff, apart from this 365 here, which is an FCC. The rest of all the 365s were in Network Southeast, so I thought I'll go for the Network Southeast one, it being one of my favourite liveries and all. So, as it's an empty coaching stock journey, we're not going to be stopping at any stations. It's going to be a straight through run to Moorgate. This is sort of just to talk about a little bit more about the 313 and also see what the Moorgate extension line's like. I have had a quick run from Moorgate to Finsbury Park, and that all seemed well. So I thought I'd show you guys what it was. I went for a foggy winter scenario just for a little bit of atmosphere. So we'll see how we go. Right, so let's start by getting set up and a little screenshot first of all. I do like the Christmas tree that's here because it's winter. Alrighty then, so let's get our tail lights off, marker lights on, instrument lights on, headlights on. Let's have the foot warmer and demisters on just because of the weather. Destination light is on, cab light we don't need on, instrument lights are on, and the dimmer, indicator dimmer, right, and instrument light dimmer, we don't need those. Right, okay, so we've got the circuit breaker open, so let's F and S to there, let's close that, and that's my doors closing. I'm going to leave it on guard only, just because we're not actually going to be stopping. And we probably want to set reset and then open that. Let's have pantograph up. Should have done set reset after. And there we go. So I've seen a lot of people struggle with this. You need to press and hold the set reset button when you change over, and make sure the circuit breaker light goes out and the line light comes on. Otherwise you're going to not go very far at all. Got green, so we'll take the DRA off and we'll get going. Let's do that. So we've got a 25 limit because we're going over the flyover, and just so we get to the top we can go up to 35. Using this flyover is one of my favourite things about starting at Welwyn really. I know it's a little thing, but when you've passed underneath it a billion times it's quite cool to see what it's like going over it. I've never been over it myself, but I have been on 365s coming bombing down, or 317s down the East Coast main line with a 313 trundling up beside you, coming down the flyover. Oh, I haven't set the destination display, let's do that. So as ECS we're going to be not in service. So I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be a real life ECS move, just purely because Hornsey Depot's further down, so I'm guessing there probably is a Hornsey to Moorgate ECS in the morning. I don't know if they stay with them overnight even. I've never, pardon me, actually been to Moorgate. At all. So 313 itself, I've had a little bit of time to get used to it. I haven't actually driven it since my last video. I haven't actually been on my computer since my last video. I've had quite a nasty stomach bug. So after my cold the previous week to stomach bug this week, it's not been fun. But I've been doing a little bit of research on it. Little bits and pieces. Had some fun new bits about it. So they are the oldest EMU that is still in service on the British mainland. Now the reason I say mainland is because I'm guessing what that means is they're including the 438s, 483s, is it? Which are the 1930 odd stock, I think it's 38 stock that's on the Isle of Wight line. And some of these will be knocking, we're knocking 40 years old I think now. So as we've already worked out, top speed 75, so it's perfect for the slow lines. And they were built by Brell at York. So Brell stands for British Rail Engineering Limited, but there's also now Bowden Rail Engineering Limited, which is quite nice because if you'd shortened it, it'd be Brell again. And they're part of the PEP family. So the prototype for these was the 455, which had a really cool front end. Well, it's really cool if you like sort of retro futuristic stuff. I know that's a bit of an irony, but stuff that was meant to look futuristic. Had like slightly slanted front end. It's worth having a look because they're quite cool. So the full power output for a 313 set is 880 horsepower. And it's 104.5 tonnes. And of course it's dual power. I think it was Wikipedia read it on that they were the first British Rail unit to have a pantograph and 750 DC shoes. I'm not completely convinced by that. I'd have to look it up a little bit more and see. But they're also built to a slightly smaller loading gauge than most British Rail stock, which is something I didn't know. They're standard length and width, but the roof is noticeably lower. And you can also see that because the AMBR pantograph. So let's get a look at that while we're just doing this. So in most stock you'll find there's a bit of a well that the pantograph sits in, but on these there isn't. And one of the videos I was watching, somebody was saying that inside the pantograph coach actually the headroom is noticeably lower. So I'm guessing it is true. So what's also quite cool about these compared to most other EMUs is that the motors, the traction motors, are actually on the driving car vehicles. Hence why you can hear them whine a bit. And the power car just the pantograph car has a transformer in it, so I split the weight over it a little bit. And of course, like we spoke about before, it's camshaft controlled. So it's a controlled resistance system, a series of parallel motor groupings and a weak field steps. Oh, wasn't paying attention to my speed there. Was too busy reading my notes. So I've bombed it through Brooklands Park. Ah well. So we'll try and do a few more sort of outside shots at the moment. So you can see, bogey wise and suspension wise, it's got air suspension, secondary, primary look like rubber springs and oil dampened primary suspension. So I don't know if they're self-loading. I know that a lot of the Mark III base stock, I don't know if so much for the Peps, had a variable load valve which levelled out the suspension but also increased brake pressure, because if the coach is more heavily loaded it meant the braking pressure actually increased as well, which is quite cool really. And a bit like most sort of metro style stock, it's standard class throughout. And a cool use for these at the moment is that they're being used to test the ERTMS, which is the European Rail Traffic Management System, and that's been done on the Hertford Loop. Now, as far as I'm aware, sorry, there still isn't any scenery on the Hertford Loop, or any available scenery for the Hertford Loop for the East Coast Main Line South. But if anybody does know of any, please let me know, because there's a great reskin already, which I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on the BH Reskins page of the Network Rail yellow one, and it's had quite significant cab modification as well, so you'd never really get it completely right, but it does look cool from the outside. It's sort of where the speedo and the brake gauges are is now a screen, which is the RTMS screen itself. These switches all here have been put up where the AWS Sunflower is and stuff. It looks like a refurb cab. It is a fully refurbed cab. Also has a technician's workstation, kitchen and toilet facilities. Which is quite cool, considering these don't even have toilets on them. So there was also quite an interesting article on railforums.co.uk, which is a site I sometimes frequent. I don't always tend to go on it. I tend to find it sort of, do you know what I mean? There's people just on there, I think, just go on there just for a row sometimes, so I sort of just dip in and out of it, and some of the stuff that's on there is pretty questionable, but there's also a load of really knowledgeable guys on there that do know a lot about what they're talking about, and there's a thing about it being quite shoddy now they were built, and they were saying about how when Southern got the 313s they were all pretty much wired up differently. And there's a guy further down saying that he worked at Shields Road Depot with the 314s and they were the same. Like sometimes you could swap driving cabs and the train just could swap driving cars over for maintenance and they'd completely not work with each other unless you put them one end, like they'd work one end but not another sort of thing. But I mean, 1976, these were state of the art at that time. You were talking about the newest build of EMU. I mean, what sort of came before that? Like the 312s, probably? They were Mark II based, so they were the only Mark II based EMU, if I remember, EMU, if I remember correctly. So it's kind of understandable to a point. Ooh, I'm getting some pretty bad frame rates here. I didn't get this bad a frame rate when I did this earlier, to be fair. I don't know what it is. So there was me banging on about not seeing. I've seen a lot of the 365s in NSE, so I switched my livery to NSE, and I think everything that's gone past has been FCC. So it was around here that I crashed earlier, so I'm hoping we don't get that again. Even if it does, I will upload the video just to show you this bit, I think, and then I'll sort of start from Hornsey, go down to Moorgate, make it a bit of a two-part thing. Fingers crossed we can get all the way through. So I'm just going to come off the power now while we slow down for the 30 up here. Whoa, mate, you're a little bit close. Now another thing to talk about is, about in the other videos, is the Class 91, I was going to say there from Armstrong Powers, but it's not. They've actually already said it's going to be called an enhancement pack, which is right up my street. Some of the little video clips they've released so far have been phenomenal. There was one with the GNER livery 91 and Mark 4 set crossing, a level crossing, with the two tones going, amazing. Well looking forward to it. And what they've also done with that is the Plus 321 packs had an update to lower the memory usage for the FCC livery, so that might give me slightly better frame rates down at this end, or it might just mean that I can just about run it. See that, look, just noticed that the textures on the seat lever or even reflecting. I've come in far too fast there. So as soon as we get past Drayton Park, which I keep wanting to call Drayton Manor, we'll be in the new scenery. It's a bit laggy here. We're going to need to stop at Drayton Park to switch over to third rail anyway, so we'll do that. There's 4 rails, which I'll be honest, I didn't notice earlier when I was coming the other way. Right then, switch over procedure for the opposite way, I'm guessing, is down. Check my pantograph's gone down, so it doesn't look like it has. Oh, maybe I have to put it into. So pan down button, couple, no, uncouple. We want to get this light on. So let's just try set reset. Ah, see, it's caught me out again. Caught me out again. That's quite annoying. There we go, Shift P. Set reset. So that should mean we have... Oh, pantograph's still up. Shift P again. Press and hold. Set reset. Okay. Let's stick it into forward again. Check if that's dropped a pan. Yeah, that's dropped a pan. Okay. No amps. There we go. So I know with FCC there is a 30 limit throughout, so we'll stick to that even though I'm in NSC days. So I mean, this part of the route isn't massively detailed or anything. It's in a tunnel, you know what I mean. But it is an extension. It does mean we can actually get to Moorgate. So as soon as I complete my dream of extending the East Coast Main Line route to Cambridge, we can do a full run from Letchworth to Moorgate. Because I think Letchworth's about as far as they go. I'm pretty sure I've seen them at Letchworth. It's just nice to be in tunnels with it, I suppose. Showing off kind of where it should be. God, I bet you wouldn't do that in real life, but it's thick down here. Tunnels do tend to absolutely hum. The worst ones are all when you come out of Queen Street low level. Oh. You can get wet through the windows. Water drips through them. They reek. Absolutely reek. So that's Highbury and Islington. Then we've got Essex Road coming up. And after that it should be Moorgate. The only reason I really ever heard of Moorgate was because of the Moorgate disaster, when it was still London Underground and the tube train smashed into the end of it. I've never really had any need to go to Moorgate. I was wrong, there's Old Street. Cab light. Woohoo! Love it. I think there is actually a switch for the vestibule light next to us, isn't there? Right, let's put that on and have a look. Pretty awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. Never really understood the need for such a big vestibule at the front end of the 313s and that. I know it's got the front door because of these tunnels. Whoa. But I mean, it's a fair size there. I mean, that goes all the way around, then you've got a cross passage behind you. I know there's no door for the driver this side, so they have to use them. And I've stood in that area before. Some kind drivers back in the day. A little panic there. I thought that was us coming into Moorgate. So I'm going to pause this just as we're coming into Moorgate and just get some photos when we nip out the end of this tunnel, so I can get some screenshots. Before it goes, you've reached the end of this quick drive. As soon as I can get out of the cab, I will. That's what we want. Might let it come in a little bit and be a bit further along. For some reason I always tend to take the driver's side picture, like pictures the left hand side of the train, but this will be a right hand side of the train. See if we can get a pick of the whole thing in. Oh, that's very silly of me. Well, that was that. Didn't even get to open the doors. So, improper use of the horn twice and speeding 5 times, not too bad. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, feel free to subscribe, like and comment. All your comments are welcome. I try and reply to as many of them as I possibly can. I think at the moment I'm managing to get 100% response rate. It might take me about a day or two to get there, but I do tend to. And you know, most of the comments have been really helpful, and it does mean a lot to me. So thanks ever so much, guys. Catch you again soon. Screenshot.